I just remember being a kid just like watching him for hours. Being like, what the hell? Who's that? I was like, oh, that's Paul. That's Paul Alexander. I was like, what the fuck?
He's a legend, I swear. He's just a legend. You know, those who are around to see him skating that, they just know there's something different about him.
The highest pop I've probably still ever seen.
He was just unbelievably ahead of his time. Couldn't even fathom how you could do shit like that so effortlessly.
Oh, yeah, Paul.
I don't really know what happened really with when he wasn't around and stuff. You know, people still talk about him, people still reminisce about him and stuff for sure. Like,
I knew he'd had his battles, you know? Because you'd see him come out, he'd be here, he'd skate, and he'd be gone.
That's how I remember Paul. Always a bit gangster. Always got that little grin. I guess we looked after Paul a little, tried to influence him a little. He was the kid who we could always get to kickflip the stairs that we probably didn't want to kickflip. We were all from good backgrounds, lived in nice villages, on our boards, skating the streets, causing a bit of trouble in the village, never having a lift home and just having to skate everywhere. Just doing what skate kids did, I guess. And then obviously when we got a bit older, we started smoking, and Paul was 12 to 13 when he started having a smoke, and by 14, it was smoking a lot. He was just always out with older guys. So his praise came from the older guys, which at that age is a pretty cool feeling. Paul's ability on the skateboard was quite frankly incredible. He was progressing so quick. But then with him going to Bristol, he was just out, just killing it.
First time I met Paul was when him and his brother moved here to Bristol, and I'd never met either of them. And randomly one day I get a call from Steve, and he's like, hey, yeah, you live in this house and you got like, I heard you got 2 spare bedrooms, and yeah, me and my brother are moving down, man, we need a place. So I was like, okay, fuck yeah, come, like move into my place. So they just showed up on the door with boxes. It was the first time I met them. They were both a pain in the ass. Like they'd cook dinner and leave the oven on and then go out, and like you'd come back a day later and the oven's about to explode. Or they'd wash dishes, which was very rare, and leave the tap on. Everyone was around all the time, you know. It was summer, we ain't got nothing to do, smoke weed, get high, and we just basically went skating and you know, hung out, and it was super dope. The crew was really tight. We were making videos, we were filming.
Slap your mum's ass.
Slap your mum's ass.
Life was simple back then. We used to blaze weed all day. We used to smoke 10 bongs and go skating.
Keeps a young skateboarder well happy, you know what I mean?
For me, I used to feed off being around him because what he did was fucking dope. He'd do his tricks higher than everyone. He would do it up the curb, he'd do it over a bench. I really learnt a lot from that. I'm super fond of Paul, definitely. Like, whatever he turns his hand to, he does it in his style and he does it his way. Like, if you've seen him play football, how he controls a ball, or dancing, everything, he's got the rhythm, he's got it. You're hanging out and you're chilling, you know, after skating, and he's like on his back flipping the board around with such crazy control. But like some of the stuff we did with that is just having a laugh.
Things were good, he was killing it, getting more attention than ever. The photographers and the filmers, and getting in the mags a lot more.
He was climbing up, man. He was doing well. He's getting covers of magazines, interviews, pictures, sponsors, shoe company, board company. I never saw any reason to think that he's got something going on or none of that, never, not once. You know, he's smarter and quicker and sharper than everyone. I remember fucking plain as day, the day when it all started happening. He called me up and he's like, "Danny, man, you're in danger." And I was like, "What do you mean I'm in danger? What?" He's like, "They're coming for you." I was like, "Paul, who's coming? What?" He's like, "Man, I seen a car." A red car went by and it had a D and a W in the license plate. And then another car came and a red one and it had some numbers in and it means they're coming for you, man. And I was like, "Dude, where are you?" He hadn't slept for days. He was having problems with his girlfriend. And I think, you know, that and smoking and not sleeping, that's what sort of started everything off.
Right, yeah. I don't want to waffle on too much.
Honestly, mate, it's fine. So, what happened? You said you were stressed out about a relationship coming to an end.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us a bit about how that made you feel.
Oh man, I can't really go into it, really. I was in love and I was heartbroken when it was over and a bit paranoid, to be honest. I don't know what to say, really. I just got ill for some reason. I don't know what happened. It just clicked and I just became unwell. I was trying to go to sleep, but I couldn't go to sleep. And I'd never been in that situation before in my life. So I just sort of walked off on my own. I didn't come back for 2 weeks. I was just walking around like a zombie. I'd been awake for so long, I couldn't remember what I'd done, you know, or days would be missing out of the week. I'd keep some weed on me anyway in my pocket and I was just walking around the street at night on my own, walking like 20 miles a night. I think I weighed about 10.5 stone. I looked ill, everyone was worried about me. I would be in the centre of College Green, pretty much very deluded person. I thought every time I heard the sirens of a police car that someone had rang the police on me. So I used to think that police were sent in to watch me, the army was sent in to watch me. And depending on what my eyeballs were doing, like above left, above right, down left, I had my own code for working it all out. That's how complicated it had got. And I used to actually be scared of moving my eyes and stuff like that. I was gambling on the tricks that I was doing. I used to think that all cars were sent to me and that the girls were there to see me and that depended on what tricks I made, I could leave with the girls in the cars. So if I pulled a switch 360 flip first go 3 times in a row, I'd have a Ferrari or something like that. I used to think that it was all being filmed from above at the green when I was skating. The weird part about it was I actually believed that I'd made the greatest film of all time.
Which film was that?
The film that I believed was happening that wasn't happening. I don't know why I used to go to College Green every day when I was as ill as that, really. The problem is my illness followed me around.
I probably turned a blind eye for a minute because I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know what to do. I got no experience of this or whatever. He'd be all right, he'd get some sleep, he needs to eat some food, he'd be all right, just lay off the weed for a bit, you know? He's a fucking homie, he's a close mate, and you're just like, whoa, dude, like, what's going on? Shit just escalated, you know what I mean?
Who'd you get your setups off? Tapped it to smash. Fuck you, man.
I'd got onto saying something quite what was it?
People were noticing, you know, saying bizarre things a little bit. The mental health team was called in, managed to round him up and say, look, we feel that you've got issues and that you need a bit of help here. So we'll have to organise to send you off to mental hospital for a short spell.
The first time I was sectioned or whatever, it was a pretty scary experience. What they gave me was a drug called haloperidol, and haloperidol makes you sort of like shiver. It's like, you know, it's more powerful than any drug I've ever had on the street. And it was like a proper scary experience. So I felt ill all the time throughout the whole day. The first time I went in, 28 days seemed like years. The medication was scarily strong. You know, you're thinking, how am I ever going to skate again? You can barely walk down the street. I said to Dad, I don't want to be involved in this. This medication is making me feel ill. It's making me feel ill. Please get me out of here.
He was kept in hospital for about a further 3 months, and then he came home to live with me.
Yeah, I remember they saying to me like, are you not going to try a few kickflips on flat to warm up or whatever? I was like, oh, I've done about a fucking million kickflips in my life, man. I'm just going to go for it, you know what I mean?
I never thought that I'd ever achieve anything in skating or ever get anywhere good. It was just a dream for me as a kid because I wanted to be a pro skater, you know, and then to be in the magazine, I never thought that that would happen, you know, so I was pretty stoked. I went on tour first to Barcelona with Osiris, I think. I went to Ireland, Portugal, the Prague ones and the Barcelona trips. They were probably the best skate trips I've been on.
Crunk on this one.
When I got my front cover for the magazine, I had a sneaky feeling that it might be front cover anyway, because it was that good an idea to do a photo in a laundrette.
Let's get out. He was actually there, yeah, doing his washing. I seen him about a week later, and I said, mate, you're on the front cover of a skate magazine because you're in the background. And he's like, no way, man. Whereabouts can I get it? And
It's hard for you not to be bitter at society when you see people out there who are more crazy than you. And I was doing something positive with my life. I was going to be a pro skater, you know. I was going to make everyone proud. I was going to make everyone happy. And that was my dream, and it got chopped down.
He's always been someone that I've had an interest in because I've had my shit of mental health, you know? Like, I got sectioned a few years ago, so I feel like I have somewhat of an understanding, like, what, maybe not as much as him, but I've been in those places and I know how fucked they are. I was there for about 6 weeks, but I know that if you stay there much longer than that and you don't have the right network of people, it's just a fucking cycle and you're never gonna get out, you know?
Out of all of your friends, like, you've probably got 1, 2 that you can really talk to. That's just generally how a lot of guys are. They kind of skim the surface and then they'll just keep things in. Especially in a circle of skaters and hanging out, and it's all cool and it's all this and that. Like, everything's cool and everything needs to stay cool, you know?
Skaters for life, man, that's what I'm saying, man. And it's fucking conformist shit.
To be vulnerable and really let yourself be open like that, I think opens you up for ridicule, or a lot of people don't really hear you either, you know? So maybe you just carry a lot of shit with you and you don't talk about it.
It took me ages to understand what he was going through, to be fair. Like, I didn't get it straight away. Because I'd known him so well before, I knew that it was something that was out of his control. He was the same character, but you'd always see in his eye that there was something that he was thinking about.
Wicked, look at that.
I remember the kids that had been skating with him before Bristol and being like, wow, Paul's scary, you know, he was talking some weird stuff. We just have to say, look, he's all right, he's, you know, don't be afraid of him. He's fine, he's just, you know, he's thinking of some crazy stuff right now.
I feel bad in a way because I lost touch with Paul. you know, and he went to Leicester and he went in the hospital. You know, I had my crazy fucking life going on at the time. To lose contact for that space of time, yeah, I feel guilty about that, you know, I feel bad about that. We went from hanging out a lot to he was in Leicester doing his thing and having a hard time, you know? You know, our lives all carried on.
I was scarred by being in hospital and being trapped, not doing anything positive. I'm quite a wild person, and I think that sometimes I get the wrong idea about that. Like if you put someone in prison, you know, they get out and they're a wild animal, they just end up going back and back. And it's similar to what happens to you in mental hospital. I've sort of pretended that I'm cool about the situation when realistically it hurts me a lot more than that. Like, I got out once and I didn't have any charisma left in me, and my girlfriend left me and we were gonna have a family together, you know? I worry about some of the people in my life and some of the effects of them being around me when I was mentally ill. I just wish that I could prove that I'm well so that they could rest and be relaxed and think, oh, Paul's gone back to how he used to be. Because I feel like I am still that person that I used to be, you see.
Yeah. Skateboarding is Paul's saviour. It's his way to freedom, free movement, and perhaps freeing up from his problems.
I'm not going to give up skating. I'm never going to give up skating. And I'm never going to give up trying to get myself well and give myself therapy, because I feel like, you know, one day it'll be too late and I won't be on this earth anymore.